Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 256 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada. We're recording on August 31st, 2020. My name is Andrew. I'll be your host. Joining me tonight, we have Gavin and Marty.
We'd love to hear your feedback about the show, so please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes.
As always, you can find the podcast on all of the socialist medias, Facebook.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast and Instagram.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast.
We need your help, obviously. To support the show, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon today. You get a better quality version of the show for just $1 an episode. And since we moved to the 2-show-a-week COVID format, Patreons get early access to the midweek show. Show you're not a communist and buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link all the way over on the right. We also want to remind everybody that this is the end of the first month of the Partisan Challenge. You should be doing 5 things to be a better person. 45 minutes of exercise, 10 minutes of practicing a skill, 15 minutes of reading, drink your 2 liters of water, and pick one thing every day to make your life better. Then take a picture of this and tag us on social media so that we can, repost your thing on social media. We're trying for audience engagement here, guys.
Yeah, try to.
Also, I really don't want to post. I don't want to post more pictures of Gavin in his short shorts going on hikes. Really not helping our subscriber counts.
They'll be forced to if no one else posts. You've been warned.
Let's go into my favorite segment. It's called "What Are You Drinking?" I'm gonna go around on the screen, and we're gonna start with Gavin. Gavin, what are you drinking?
I have a liter of margarita this evening. This may or may not be a great idea or a horrible idea.
When you say a liter of margarita, how much booze is in that?
The same amount as whiskey that I drink on a regular Monday night.
Okay, so it's half and half.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give away my recipe.
Fair enough. That's fair. Marty, what are you drinking?
My OnlyFans is going to be for.
Just gin and soda tonight.
Interesting choice. I would have never pegged you for somebody who drinks gin. Is that first on the show, I think?
I haven't drank in a while. I used to drink a lot of gin in university, but I don't I don't know. I don't drink it as much anymore. I mostly drink with.
I don't think I've ever seen you drink gin.
Yeah, it's so rum is the one I don't drink. That's unless I'm because
you're not a pirate.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I've never liked rum, but when I'm if I'm doing keto religiously, my taste changes and I can drink rum and it's good. But as soon as I get off keto, I fucking hate it again.
Weird.
That's super weird.
Maybe it's got to do with the sugar intake.
Yeah, I don't know. Something to do with the sugar, maybe.
Yeah.
Weird. I'm drinking more cream ale this week because it's cold and it's in the fridge, so that's what we're drinking. Do some news. We're going to start with Black Lives Matter protests in Montreal. So, starting on the Westphalian Times, Montreal BLM destroys 125-year-old McDonald's statue while police stands by and watch. And follow up on CTV News, statue of John A. McDonald toppled during defund the police protest.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to clarify that first headline. It's Sir John A. McDonald, not Ronald McDonald.
I didn't say that.
No, I know. I'm just saying because the first headline is 125-year-old McDonald statue. It doesn't specify which one.
I mean, that's fair, I suppose. So there is a statue in Place de Canada in Montreal. There was a statue. I mean, there still is a statue, although I guess the Parks Department has come by and picked it up for refurbishing now.
Yeah.
Can I just at what point do we get to violently remove the communists?
I mean, I would like to say that we should have done that like many episodes ago, but I don't know. I don't think we're just there yet. Sadly.
Well, I don't care about their protest. Not that I have any opposition to their... If you want to have a peaceful protest, knock yourself out, right? Go nuts. But if you start destroying things that are in the commons, you're costing me tax dollars.
Yeah.
And I don't like paying tax dollars to begin with, so I like it even less when a group of communists destroys the things that my tax dollars sustain.
And also, they're no longer a protester.
Yeah.
Like they stop being a protester as soon as they start becoming a vandal.
Yeah.
Right, and I mean, like that's what this should be a mischief charge for vandalism, right? Like that's in a serious country, that's how that would work.
Well, I mean, that would mean we'd need to be out of clown world first.
But that's what I mean. Like, so, like, Montreal police stood there and watched the protesters dismantle and behead a statue that's been vandalized a whole bunch of times, and then ordered the protesters to disperse, failed to arrest any of them, charge any of them, and now, conceivably, Montreal taxpayers are paying to clean up the statue again, because they keep having to have the statue cleaned up because it keeps getting graffitied.
Yeah.
I think we should organize a protest against Clown World and tear down statues of the other McDonald.
Yes, I'm in. That would be a great protest. much virtue signaling, but hey, if the left can do it, so can we.
Yeah. At least ours will be funny and have beer.
Yeah, lots of it.
I can get behind that. The other thing I want to read this is there's a Montreal police spokesperson had a comment that I thought was hilarious. The protest in general went really well. The mischief at Place de Canada was a bit negative. The police spokesperson thought that the vandalism that should have resulted in mischief charges was a little bit negative. That's Montreal police, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you expect from the most socialist state?
I don't even know what to... Why are we allowing people to destroy things that are in the commons, like the public good? Why are we... At what point have they violated the oh-so-holy social contract that the rest of us have to abide by?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean...
As soon as they vote conservative.
Yeah.
That's
or even consider it, yeah.
Once you do that, you're a criminal. Anything else, you're good to go.
Or is it that anyone that votes conservative, or is it anyone that doesn't vote liberal? Because
no, I think you can be an NDP voter and get away with this stuff too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like at some point this is going to need to come to an end, and if the police are not going to enforce it, I feel like other individuals may take it upon themselves, because at some point, like, if they want to have a, let's use some American parlance, if they want to have a space to destroy things, that's fine. I just don't want them destroying my thing. And I mean, yeah. Okay, so it's like commons space. It's not specifically mine, but my tax dollars or the tax dollars of people who live in Montreal and pay property taxes. Somebody's tax dollars are paying for the upkeep of this park and the maintenance of the statue and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have to pay for the cleanup activities that are involved. At some point, if we don't put these peaceful protesters in check,
yeah.
I feel like they're going to escalate this, so it's not going to be 125-year-old statues. They're going to start burning down, say, businesses or homes.
Well, once all the 125-year-old statues are torn down, they know they're not going to be happy, so they will have to find, the next thing.
Another outlet, right?
Yeah.
So if the police aren't going to police these people, I wonder how long it will be before someone else decides to exert their authority through violence onto the violent communists.
Yeah, and then you'll have the Montreal equivalent of a Kenosha hat trick.
Well, I mean, that's kind of my fear. That's what I'm getting at here, is like, if somebody doesn't put these people in check, they're going to eventually destroy something that makes other people unhappy, and someone's going to smoke check them for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, both sides will escalate it until something bad happens. That's
the other piece of this, like the underlying issue that I fail to understand. Why does the defund the police movement hate the first prime minister of our country? Like, I understand the argument is he's a racist, but like, is there a specific grievance? Because I'm pretty sure he wanted the natives to be able to vote.
It's his treatments of the indigenous community. That's the
like wanting them to be able to vote. That's the.
I mean, I guess they're taking the Jocko approach to this, and as the leader of a nation, he is responsible for everything that happened to everybody, positive or negative, in the country under his watch. Therefore, anything bad that happens is his responsibility and fault, despite the fact
and I can understand that I can understand that to a certain degree, but I mean, like, I have issues with Confederation. I have issues with the way that the country was founded, and I have issues with the way that we marginally distanced ourselves from the British Empire. But as prime ministers go, MacDonald managed to build a reasonably successful confederation out of a bunch of distinct societies that's still functioning 150 odd years later.
Yeah.
Plus, in the photo in this article with the pink paint, he looks metal as fuck.
Fair. I mean, I could see him as a Slayer fan if he was born of this time.
Like, are you looking at that photo right now?
The one where he's pink?
The one with the pink paint on the base.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's awesome. It's a different statue. I don't know why this is in the article, but
it's a great picture.
Yeah.
It's very glam rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, it shows that many people dislike Sir John A. Macdonald for reasons that they can't tell you factually.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I don't particularly think that he was a good person, but I mean, he did make remarkable achievements, although I don't agree with the outcomes of a lot of those. But I can articulate my particular grievances with a confederation of convenience. I can't articulate racism, ! Number one, !
But I mean, if we're looking at him under the lens of today and today's behavior and how we judge all of that, like, pretty much everybody back then would have been racist. I'm not saying what they did was right or correct. I'm just saying that, like, they lived in a different world. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's an unfair assessment to apply today's standards of morality or...
you can't judge the past by the morals of today.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a fair assessment.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not supposed to be a fair assessment, but no one's going to pass the test, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He did the best that he could given the situation and the times that he lived in, and it does look like, maybe, he did some garbage things in the past, like we all have at some point, but he also tried to do the right thing and to give these people the vote. So
this entire, like, the Black Lives Matter movement in Canada, this entire thing is all fake and made up. Like, it's all based on things that happened in the States, in a different country. Yeah.
Well,
they wanted to defund the police in Montreal because some people in America are upset about their police, and so we're just jumping on that bandwagon.
Well, I mean, the people of Montreal have a lot to be upset about when it comes to their police force, but those are entirely different issues.
Yeah,
I did hear a wonderful point over the weekend. Where did the Underground Railroad end? when we were freeing all of the slaves in America, where did they go? Where did they travel to?
Pretty sure that was Canada.
Yeah, so it seems like maybe we're not the worst place ever. Maybe we shouldn't be trying to defund our police forces for
at least
events that have occurred in other countries.
Or we defund the police forces of other countries. Like, if we're going to use the whole like victim hierarchy, let's use like the reverse hierarchy where like you get rid of the bad police officers first and then move on down the line as you see how it goes.
Well, and I mean, in the case of these, I hesitate to use the word anarchists because I don't think that they're actually in favor of anarchy. I think that they just want the force of the government applied in their own favor. They want to be able to like direct which neck the boot of the state gets put on.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that. I think that they are visionless. I think that they are just doing whatever they're told to do. I think that there is a third party that is saying, you guys should go do this, and they're just going along with it.
I mean, you could be right. Maybe they're just straight up NPCs that TV says smash statue racist. We go smash statue. Like maybe it's that like Wojak caved in head. Maybe it really is that bad, and they don't deserve the credit that I'm trying to give them, in that they are misguidedly trying to do the right thing. But I wonder, and maybe if they're NPCs, maybe this is all for naught. It's not a critical thought exercise that's worth conducting. But what did they think's going to happen to them after they defund the police, and the government hasn't yet taken our firearms, and they try to say, destroy our property, and somebody lights up a group of them? Because the police aren't coming at that point, right?
Sure
that's what we just saw happen in the States. They wanted to defund the police, and they wanted the community to police their own area. The community policed their own area, and these vandals got shot.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean. Like at that point, you just become
from 30 minutes away. Meanwhile, Antifa is being bussed in from all over the country.
But it doesn't matter at that point. You just end up with local warlords, and your local warlord is literally the most heavily armed guy within the range of the arms of which he possesses.
Yeah.
So if you're the dude on the top of the hill with the AR, you control that hill. That's just how it's going to work.
I'm fine with that. I have an AR.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I
just need to find a hill now.
Yeah.
I wonder if these people, like, either they're completely NPC, like Marty says, and they have no concept of reality and what's going on around them, or they failed to conduct a critical thought exercise of what happens when they get their way, and then they try to do this where there are no police to stop
I
heavily armed vigilantes.
I honestly think that they don't know what they're doing. I think that they are sort of like quasi-intellectual, where like they think that they know what they're doing because somebody that they trust told them to think this way, and so then they think that way.
And by someone they trust, you mean the TV?
The TV, college professors, the liberal arts professor, like
so pretty much everyone.
It's all the same. It's all the same message. And so they get this message. They don't question it because everybody that they know and everybody that they listen to also listens to the same thing. So they just assume that is correct without any critical thought or critical analysis. They think that anyone that doesn't think that way is an idiot and is wrong and unworthy. And they just go out and follow these, do these things blindly.
I mean,
Revolutionary LARP. That is the Albertan with another show title this week. Revolutionary LARPing. We're going with that.
Yeah, but not in the fun way with like a tricorn and like one of those off-white shirts and a musket.
Well,
Speaking of statues, remember when there was supposed to be a statue for every prime minister on the university campuses, but then they realized they had to do a Harper one?
And that got shut down, didn't it? Good times. Let's talk about somebody who's not the prime minister, but I wouldn't have been upset if he would have made it. Our man Mad Max is back in the news after not having been heard from for months. I didn't know what happened to him. This is in the Ottawa Sun. Maxime Bernier, Aaron O'Toole is not a real conservative. Says the guy that quit the Conservatives because he didn't win.
Yeah, you would think that after all those months, he would have been able to get the sand out of his vagina, but apparently
it's
not
still
yet.
there. Yeah, it's still there.
I mean, I still like Max. I think that he's not the best politician because he has definitely done some.
He's not even a
highly
politician
questionable.
anymore. Yeah,
I mean, that's a good point. That is a very good point, Marty. He is not currently a politician. I kind of hope that he ends up back in Parliament because I think he's a decent MP, and I think he is doing the right thing in his own mind, if nothing else. He is trying to take a principled stance.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot that I like about there's a lot that I like about Max, but he's the worst. He's the worst politician. He's terrible.
Which in a way is what makes him the best politician.
So what I'm hearing is we officially endorse Bernier as PM.
Yeah, and I think
so. Yes and no. The hard thing is that the things that that he says that he's principled about, he has not showed up for.
Yeah, that's a very fair criticism.
Although, I mean, the things he's principled about wouldn't have mattered because they all went the other way because of whatever system of government was currently in place. Clearly whipped the vote. But
that doesn't
still show up out of principle.
Yes, you're either principled about this thing or you're not. You're either going to take a stand for it or you're not. And it does not look well. First off, he tends to miss a lot anyway, and then especially missing on items like firearms that he's apparently supposed to be championing, and then doesn't show up for the vote. Does not
doesn't
give me a lot of confidence in him. How much of it is reality, and how much is him just how much of it is like all other politicians, talk and no action.
Yeah.
Well, and that is his criticism of O'Toole, is that O'Toole is not going to be a good conservative leader, that he's not going to do the things that a conservative leader ought to do, that he is a form of liberal lightness, a lesser liberal, if you will.
And I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with some of that. I mean, the Conservative Party as a whole has kind of gotten less conservative over the years, but any step further away, back towards
this is part of my this is part of my objection to the idea of big tent conservatism, because the conservative big C party in this country is not really conservative. They're barely middle right.
Yeah.
They're the party closest to the center of all of our political parties, but they're a centrist party.
Yeah.
They're not a right party.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? So, I mean, they're further right than literally everyone else because they're not actually communists or other kinds of communists, really. That's basically your options are different colors of communism.
Yeah. They're less to the right than the liberals are to the left.
That's what I mean. They're still a centrist party. Yeah. And I think they've been a centrist party for 20 years.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think what we have here, to put this into, firearms, relating it to firearms, Bernier is essentially the NFA.
Yeah.
He's not wrong, but he's never going to get anything accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, and I wish that he just would shut his mouth every now and again, instead of being completely blunt and honest about stuff, which is great. But when you come off as that you're just butthurt about something and just shit talking when you're a politician, it doesn't make you look good.
I don't know. If I ever go into politics, that is exactly my strategy.
Well, I mean, there's a time to do it and a time not to do it. Right when the guy gets elected, you don't go, yeah, you're fake. Especially when he's not even in your party and you weren't running against him.
I wonder if this criticisms of Aaron's is last the previous election that he ran. Yeah. I think he has some valid criticisms of his policies in the previous campaign. Now, luckily, Aaron O'Toole's previous campaign policies from the firearm side of things was basically the same, so he's had a consistent approach with that. But his other policies
were slightly better.
Yeah. So, but like, it's good that, but I don't know. I don't mind the fact that you have a leader who was able to recognize mistakes and correct them and do way better. That's
what we want, right?
Yeah.
I think like the criticism of his previous campaign, it was valid. And I think that O'Toole would likely agree with that because he changed it for this one.
Yeah. It didn't work. So he corrected and was successful.
Yeah. And I think that's probably a good lesson to go into a general election.
Yeah. I mean,
let's talk about one of the other colors of communism. This is on the gunblog.ca. Green Party's Amita Cutter seeks better justice for gun owners. Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know about this until recently, but apparently the Green Party is also having a leadership race, of which there are 9 candidates. And I believe that to be factually accurate, Amita's pronouns are they, them.
All right.
So we'll just get that out of the way now because I'm probably going to fuck it up in a minute. Oh. Pretty sure I got that right. So I'm super confused about this. Also, I kind of want to vote for the Green Party leader.
Yeah. How do you join the Green Party?
If you join the Conservative, I don't think you can join the Green. You can't be a member of
You're
two
not
parties.
supposed to join more because it violates the agreement with all of the parties except for the Libertarian Party of Canada. There are maybe other fringe parties like that don't have a clause like that because the Libertarian Party are like, we don't care. But the big parties, the Liberals, the Conservatives, the NDP, I know for sure all say that you're not supposed to be a member of any other federal party and a member of their party.
That's done.
There's also no practical way to enforce that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering. Is there anything in the like Elections Act? Is there anything like I've always heard that. I don't know what the mechanism is behind it though. Is it just that it's party policy and they don't?
In the case of both the Conservative and Liberal parties, I know for a fact because I've read the policy. I know for a fact that it's a condition of membership in the party.
Oh, who cares about that? Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Right. That's my point. And we've talked about this before on the show. The Conservative Party, I think, costs you $15 to be a voting member for like 2 years or whatever. Liberal Party is or was free to join. And the NDP Party, if you were a disabled, transgendered, native, left-handed, quadriplegic, it was free. Because if you checked enough boxes, eventually it became free.
I mean, it's really
otherwise
in
the
all
NDP
of
has
our best interest to be a member of all of the parties and then help dictate policy.
I'm not saying you should join all the political parties and violate their various, I'm going to say terms of service for lack of a better understanding of what it's called.
But in theory, though,
I will say this, though.
Good.
It is the official stance of the Canadian Patriot Podcast that you should join all of the parties.
Yes.
I mean, basically that's what you should join the party of which you feel you have an opportunity to have a say in.
Yeah.
Read into that as far as you'd like.
Yeah, and if you happen to be interested in
for
the Green
legal
Party,
purposes, this is an entertainment podcast.
Yeah. And if you're interested in the Green Party, this particular candidate is all about
much
guns.
like how we had a professional opinion about who we thought would make a good leader of the Conservative Party. A cursory glance at the 9 candidates running for the Green leadership, I'm going to say that I like them Amita Cutter because of her firearms policy. I'm agreeing with the Green Party again.
Yeah, which includes use of firearms for home defense.
Yeah, we should knock off some of these points in her platform. Her platform overall doesn't seem atrocious for the Green Party. Like, it's basically where I expect most of the stuff to fall. But it also seems reasonably fiscally conservative. Again, taking into consideration that it's the Green Party.
My ears are open now. Let's hear this policy. I want to hear a fiscally conservative environmental policy. Let's go.
Anything has got to be slightly more conservative fiscally than the liberal spending policy right now.
I mean, go and find her policy.
A drunken sailor on shore leave spends less money than the Liberal Party.
It's not coming up right away in her thing because it's all a bunch of stuff you got to expand. I will have to read through it again because they did have a bunch of social policy stuff that was buried in here somewhere about. They were still going to spend a lot of money, but it seemed like a lot less money than what the Liberals were spending.
Yeah.
I think it was her. I don't think it was a different candidate.
I mean, in general, it's a smart play because right now conservatives only have one option. So I don't think that the Green is an actual real option.
I don't think it's a serious option, but if this Amita person gets into leadership, and I mean, they seem like a relatively intelligent individual. They have a PhD in like astrophysics or something. So they're at least on paper intelligent.
I'd say this though, but like if other candidates can start to show in other parties that they could pull votes by catering to firearms owners,
it's definitely in our benefit, man.
Yes, because we can start getting in a situation where the various parties are competing for those votes, and that means better policy for us. So this is advantageous. So absolutely, if anybody listening to here is a member of the Green Party or will soon be a member of the Green Party, she's the one to vote for. Let's throw our support behind her.
Having what would traditionally be a left-leaning person in our corner when a vote comes up. So say, a snap election happens and, the conservatives squeak out a minority. These are those votes that could help push some policy our way,
When I want to touch on a couple of the specific policies in her platform about this. So they are not a firearms owner. They do not have a PAL. But they are in favor of home defense as being a valid reason to own a firearm. Yeah. So that means they value their life at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They also are not in favor of the current order in council and buyback regime.
Probably because that's money that could be spent protecting the trees.
Well, I mean,
also,
regardless.
There is no buyback as far as we know.
Yeah.
No, as far as we know. So, from what I can understand from reading Amita's website, they are not in favor of a buyback program under the current order in council. Should our current government ever get that far and actually produce like meaningful legislation about what they want to do next?
Yeah.
So they do not seem to be in favor of any sort of a buyback. Their position is that the current order in council is not rooted in evidence, but is an arbitrary government mandate against otherwise peaceful and law-abiding firearms owners, which seems like a very reasonable statement. And again, I'm talking about somebody in the Green Party, and I'm very confused.
Yeah. Well, I guess because we're so used to having Drunk May be the one that be the mouthpiece, right?
They also want to restructure the current firearms program by going to the simplified classification system, similar to what the Conservative Policy Convention was a few years ago, with merging the restricted and non-restricted classifications. Keep mandatory training. Develop evidence-based classes of prohibited firearms, so it sounds like we're still not getting machine guns. Ensure prosecution for people that are smuggling firearms, which, again, like targeting criminals. I can't believe I like something coming from somebody in the Green Party. Ensure that people do not receive lifetime bans for non-compliance due to technical gaps in the regulations. Like, there's also a bunch of redrafting and changing a bunch of the components of the Firearms Act. And they want to deal with subsistence hunting, sport shooting, predator defense, and specifically home defense as reasonable legal grounds for firearms possession. There's a bunch of rules around that, but like, that's way better than literally any other party right now.
Yeah. So she lives off grid on an island. I would want to live off grid on an island.
Right? Like I could totally be friends with this person, I think.
Well,
like probably they sound like some
this part.
But this part. And I mean, again, reading a cursory glance of all 9 of the candidates, her policy page is very, very dense. It also has a lot of infographics for some reason, or I guess that's maybe not the right word. Large icons.
Does anybody know where she sits in the leadership campaign? Like, what are her? Is she?
I have no idea. I literally just learned that the Green Party was having an election.
She's probably about to get 12 more supporters tonight.
Yeah. You're welcome. The free advertising is free for now. The next round will cost you. Let's should we talk about that RCMP? I've got a bunch of that RCMP articles queued up.
Hang on, I'm trying to see if I can quickly intern polls.
Yeah, I mean, if we keep getting more of these, that RCMP stories, we're going to have to dedicate one of the shows a month to that RCMP and that RCMP alone.
Okay, so they do ranked voting. Do we know? Do they not have any like election polls yet?
I only just learned they were having an election. I'm probably not alone in that.
I learned this episode.
I was today old when I learned. Yeah.
All right, come on. I can't find any polls on a quick intern.
Okay, well, tune in on Wednesday's show. I'll do a little bit of research. We can talk about Wednesday about like eligibility criteria and stuff, and like when the election is.
Yeah, we might want to fact check that it's like totally cool to be membership in multiple parties and that it doesn't violate any.
It's definitely not, but I don't think it's like illegal. I think it just would if two parties found out, they would just terminate your membership. I think.
Yeah, if it's just that, then we can let's just double check that. But yeah, if that doesn't matter,
I'm reasonably certain it's not like a felony.
Yeah, but if anyone was interested, it seems that you could get a membership for a donation of $10.
That's very fiscally responsible of them.
Yes.
All right, on to my favorite Cowboys.
Also, just quickly, if you are thinking of joining, you need to become a member before September 3rd, 2020.
Yeah, you do not have a lot of time left.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. I'll be right back. I need to go run a credit card.
Allegedly.
Okay. So we might put out some social media posts about becoming a Green Party member this week. All right.
Yeah.
Neat. On to the Queen's Cowboys. We're going to start in Manitoba. This is on the CBC. No charges for Manitoba RCMP officer alleged to have left gun behind at receptionist's desk. Hey, Gavin, if I leave my, let's say, restricted pistol at my receptionist's desk at my physiotherapist, how long do you suppose I would go to jail for?
Oh. That's a good question. Do you have a bunch of like drugs with you at the same time?
No. Let's assume I just leave my pistol at my receptionist's desk.
You can't bargain away the gun things because you've only got the gun charges. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the gun charge. I've left my let's assume my unloaded restricted pistol at the receptionist desk of my physiotherapist.
Is it locked up or is it just like you unholstered?
No, I literally I pulled my Glock out of my Mexican waistband there, and I slammed my throwaway piece on the table, and I said, "Gator, don't fuck around." And then I went to go see my my physiotherapist.
Oof. I'd say at least 10 years, at least.
Because I feel like that's a mandatory 5-year minimum. For just like abandoning my firearm in a public place like that I didn't have an ATT for. I feel like that's a 5-year minimum.
Yeah, I mean, you'd certainly be hanging with Dirty Mike and the boys in the pen, that's for sure.
The RCMP's what is it? The Office of Special Investigations, the Office of Professional Responsibility, whoever there, somebody, the Independent Investigation Unit, there's their name, is going to look into this. The incident occurred last November. This was reported earlier in August of 2020, and this incident occurred last November, and the independent investigation is going to look into it.
Glad they're really getting on to that.
Fuck, I'm so glad these people have guns.
Yeah. Makes me feel real safe.
Super safe. Super safe.
Yeah.
Let's do another one. This is on a little bit further east. This is in Nova Scotia. Also on the CBC. There's a theme here with the CBC. Man who printed fake RCMP decals on Nova Scotia shooter's car has been sent back to prison.
Well, that's good.
A dirtbag, 40 years old, is serving a sentence for trafficking cocaine in Alberta. He was on parole in Nova Scotia. Apparently worked at a sign shop in Truro and produced the stripes and RCMP logos that were placed on Wortman's vehicle. In of itself, I'm going to say making rainbow-colored stripes, probably not a crime. Producing RCMP logos, also, I mean, maybe like a trademark issue, but probably not a crime. I feel like some random felon that was working in a sign shop probably didn't know the spree killer particularly well and wasn't like aware of his plan to impersonate an RCMP officer and go around and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, but if someone's coming in to print out some stuff, you'd maybe have some questions.
It makes me think that maybe he didn't make some good choices along the way that, I don't know. You'd like to have an RCMP replica car. Well, that's a request we get all the time. We can definitely help you out. That. Wait, why do you want RCMP decals?
I mean, he said he's, a collector and he had some stuff. And I mean, the guy's a denturist. I mean, like, it's, I can understand this guy not being like crazy suspicious. Like the guy,
I don't put a lot of blame on the felon. I just find it highly suspect that a very well-known cocaine smuggler that has been paroled from Alberta to Nova Scotia for some reason happens to be involved in this very questionable series of events.
Especially when there's rumors floating around that the massacre guy had something to maybe do with drug dealing and associated people that were...
Right, it's just like, it's weird. Very odd coincidence.
Yeah. It's very strange.
Also, the CBC alleges that the felon in question may have done under-the-table cash job type work for the spree killer. It's not really clear what that is. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like this guy has been making questionable choices and maybe parole isn't for him.
I don't know. I feel like this guy's getting thrown under the bus here.
Maybe he is.
Like,
it's a very odd coincidence, though, right?
It is. Okay, it's an odd coincidence, but let's just think about this guy that's out on parole. So what is he getting? What is he getting put back into jail for? Working. Doing his actual job, working at a sign shop and printing stuff. And printing these up for a guy who he also was working for. Like, it was a neighbor that he was doing odd jobs for cash on the side of his other job, working at the sign shop. And it's like, yeah, this guy was working, and he got put in jail for it. Because,
right, and I don't especially place fault with the felon for this, but it seems like it's one more suspect thing with this that doesn't add up.
Yeah, and maybe it's just like our tinfoil hats are on extra tight because of the lack of information that's come out of this.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. This to me,
it's weird.
This to me seems more like an issue of just trying trying to show results to get people off their back. And I think that this guy likely just got tossed under the bus to stop people looking into other things.
Yeah, entirely possible.
Could be. Let's go to Saskatchewan. We're back on the western side of the country, the good side of the country, if you will. Well, almost. I mean, it's Saskatchewan. It's not Alberta. Video shows Mountie entering Saskatchewan home with axe during a wellness check. Hey, I'm from the Queen's Cowboy, and I'm here to ask you a question.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what that guy was thinking. Like, I mean, especially at a time where people are talking about like defunding the police, which like what they really mean is don't send police to do mental health checks.
Well, I mean, they also sent 2 nurses.
And then here you have a guy coming in with an axe.
So, a little bit of background. A native Canadian person who may have been unwell or had injured himself or had been injured apparently was talking to a family member who called their local clinic. The clinic wanted to come out and check on them. They called in a wellness check to the local RCMP. The RCMP sent somebody out along with the 2 nurses from the clinic. And Buddy was like, no, I'm in my house and I'm good. You can, like, leave me alone. And there's video of this that I am summarizing of the 2-minute video clip. But, like, basically the RCMP officer is like, let me the expletive in there or I'm going to break the door down. Which, I am not in law enforcement, but that does not seem to me like how you would do a wellness check.
No, unless you were checking how well the door was constructed, in which case then that's probably okay, but
So I can see why the gentleman that was being wellness checked thought that like something had gone wrong and like the police were after him for reasons that he didn't understand, and that like he would go and see somebody at the clinic on his own recognizance. I can see why this was like not handled well and why the individual that got wellness checked wanted no part of it. But also, when did police powers allow you to like break down doors to do wellness checks? I don't think that that's how that works. I'm reasonably certain in order to enter someone's home, you still need a warrant or reasonable cause.
yeah. I mean,
I don't feel like a wellness check where you can talk to the dude through the door is reasonable cause.
Yeah, not unless he says or does
issued
something.
axes.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the constable did threaten to come back with a sledgehammer. Apparently, he didn't have that in his patrol car, but he did have a mother effing axe.
Yeah, now he's a liar.
Well, but he did threaten. Oh, so on the video, you can hear him saying that he'll come back and break down the door with a sledgehammer, right? Sledgehammer apparently was not readily available. Axes, however, open season in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird.
Said it before, say it again. I'm not down with wellness checks.
Yeah.
Not a thing the police should be doing, particularly this particular constable.
Yeah.
This guy does not seem like somebody you should be sending to do wellness checks.
No, because that's how the guy going to do the wellness check gets smoke checked. That's how that happens.
Right? So, I mean, it all seems to have ended peacefully. It seems to have been...
I hope they at least get the guy a new door.
I don't think they actually broke down the door. I think that the homeowner ended up letting the constable and the nurses in.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's how it appears to me in the video. It doesn't seem like the door was broken down, but it does seem like very, very excessive to do this. Like, they were definitely having a conversation through the closed door. So Buddy's not, like, dead or dying.
Yeah.
He just wants to be left alone in his house, and I can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's having a worse day now than he was before.
Yeah.
So much worse.
Yeah. Now he really wants to get left alone.
And that's going to be intimidating, right? Like, it's bad enough, like, an agent of the state comes to your house to check on you and make sure you're okay. But then he comes to check on you and he's, like, brandishing an axe.
Yeah.
That does not inspire a sense of calm.
Yeah.
Let's do one more for the show tonight. This is on the National Post. Trans activist Jessica Yaniv files second lawsuit against 3 beauticians after losing human rights suit to them in 2019. That's right. Our favorite BC dumpster fire is back again.
Yeah. Another pocket of grease in the dumpster is caught, and the whole thing is ablaze again.
So, I mean, we've talked about Jessica extensively on the show because she is the... What's an STD that you can't get rid of?
Herpes?
She is the herpes of the news. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's probably a defamation suit waiting to happen, but...
No.
Back in the news again.
It's an opinion. It's not factual. Not saying that she has herpes. She is akin to herpes. It's totally different.
I'm glad that Gavin's keeping us honest. That's good.
Yeah. I've dealt with my share of lawyers.
These 3 beauticians were involved in the Human Rights Tribunal last year. As I understand it, obviously Jessica, we discussed this on the show, Jessica lost the Human Rights Tribunal, and I believe the judge called it frivolous.
And malicious, I believe.
Oh, I'm certain they used the words malicious. I think they used the word frivolous. Costs were awarded to the defendants in this case. The issue seems to stem from that now Yaniv has paid the defendants, but the lien on her property has not been removed. So the new action is in response to the lien as a way of maintaining, I don't know what the right pronoun is, their assets. I'm using their.
Not to be confused with their accents.
I don't even understand British Columbia, man.
I wish this article didn't exist. This person. I mean, I don't even mean it as like that. This person clearly has mental health issues, and this is like, I feel like this writing articles about this is just selling media on this person's mental health. Like needs to be like, she just needs to be dealt with in quiet and private. Like this is not helping anybody by making this person a public figure.
No, you're probably right, but we have talked about them so much on the show at this point that every time it comes up in my news feed, I have to mention it because it's just like, it's the train wreck that keeps on giving. It's the thing that I can't look away from as the disaster is happening.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you hear about those like 200 car pileups on the highway,
then you go on YouTube and watch the video.
The 2 cars crash, and then 10 minutes later, the 3rd car comes in, and then 2 minutes later, the next car, and the next. It's not like it happened all at once. It's just everyone's driving, and they're like, "Oh, a car accident," and then they crash too, right? Like it's ongoing, but little breaks in between.
We live in a strange world, man.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I mean, I would be pissed too if I had a lien on my house that I've done everything that I could do to get it to go away, and I've complied with my end of the deal, and here it is. But again, it only really matters if you're trying to sell your house. So, like, there's no real hurry. Like, maybe call the appropriate people. Be like, hey, the lien's still on my house. Can you fix that?
And that's my take on this, is I don't feel like this is malicious. I feel like this is just bureaucratic negligence. Some lawyer, some city bureaucrat, some paper pusher somewhere has not filed Form 603-3 in triplicate and lost a copy and buried it in soft peat for 6 months, and whatever thing that they needed to do, because it's like a bureaucratic, terrible process that no one should be involved in, and somewhere along the line somebody just has not completed their their part of the job, right? Their task in the process is not done, so the lien still exists. It sucks, but it's probably not hurting anybody.
Yeah. But I mean, this is like trying to solve that problem with an axe. Like, it's too much, right? Like, it doesn't fit. Like, it's too extreme. Like, just call up your lawyer and be like, hey, they still haven't taken that lien off. Can you call their lawyer and can we get this sorted? Like, you don't have to go and do a whole other...
I don't even know if it's the lawyer.
Doesn't have a lawyer on retainer. This person doesn't have a lawyer. They've got no money because they've spent it on frivolous suits and defending themselves.
Because they're an activist.
Yeah.
That's how activism works.
Yeah, but there's still got to be a better, more productive way. Because, like, I mean, they got to watch it. Because, like, given that they've already been said that it's malicious and they're going after people because of, like, the color of their skin and or their religion, going after those same people could also be considered going after them again, despite having maybe potentially legitimate reasons. And they could end up owing more money and have a second lien put on their house.
Yes.
I don't know, man. It's very sad, but it's still very entertaining.
Yeah. All I can say is I know that we're going to see her pop up again in like 6 months or something like that for something else stupid.
Well, let's start wrapping things up. Remember, if you shop on Amazon, you should use our affiliate link. Go in the show notes. Click under shilling for the buy an official Big Luau shirt on Amazon so we get affiliate revenue. And I want to thank everyone who's been shopping on Amazon using our affiliate link recently. It helps. I mean, also, I guess
they could do that, or they could just go to bigluau.biz.
Yeah.
That's true. Thank you to other Andrew, younger Andrew, if you will. Bigluau.biz will also get you to Amazon using our affiliate link. Or if you go to CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, the footer on every page, I am required to buy the contract with Amazon as part of their terms of service. I must mention on every page of our website that we are an affiliate with Amazon. So in the footer, there's a link to Amazon, and if you click it, that will also take you to the Big Luau shirts.
Nice.
Not really. It was kind of a pain in the ass, but hey, it works now.
Well, you know, you've held up your end of the bargain.
Complied with the terms of service.
What?
Also, if you haven't signed the petitions yet, go sign the petitions. Petitions are going to close soon. Gavin, where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can find me on the gram at urbex_GTA. And while I've got the mic for a second, big shout out to Todd, one of our regular listeners. I believe it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Todd.
Happy birthday, Todd.
Hopefully you're listening.
I don't know, Todd.
Todd sends us a lot of email, Marty.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. You must
Marty,
do that through the feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com link.
Yeah.
There you go. Good man. If you've listened this long, you deserve a discount code. Go to your local human rights tribunal. No, that's not right. Go to Ragnarok Tactical and use the discount code PATRIOT at checkout. Save yourself some money. $10 flat rate shipping on everything that's in stock. Because that's the way it works. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaca. I'm sorry we couldn't fit him onto the show this evening. Only one BC dumpster fire at a time. That's the rule now. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are the true North. Strong and free.